Okay, so this is a quick video to show you how to do a burnt wood effect. You can do this on pretty much any wood as far as I'm aware, but I'm going to show you today on ash. So we want to make some black ash coffee mats, and we want them to turn out something along these lines. So you go from something like this to something like this. Obviously we've gold painted this bit. Now the problem that you've got is once you've burned it, there's soot on it, and you've got to get rid of that soot obviously because you don't want it on your hands. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. First of them is to use a wire brush and just brush off the soot afterwards, but that takes a lot of the blackness away. But you could then ebonize it with some Osmo or some kind of stain or something like that, and that would be fine. Or you could just wipe it with a cloth, keep wiping it, and then cover it with some kind of protectant, again like Osmo, something like that. Works really well. But the key thing is you've got to make sure that you burn into the wood deep enough that it will survive being wiped over or being wire brushed. If you don't do it deep enough, you'll just brush off all the burnt stuff. So in terms of burning it, it's really quite simple. So let's get in close and I'll show you how to do it. But the first thing you need is a matte gas torch or something similar to this with a really decent flame on it that's going to burn it quickly. Okay, so let's get in close and I'll show you how to do it. So pretty simple, just turn the gas on and away we go. Okay, so it really is as simple as that. Once you've done your initial burn, just go back over and see if you can see any kind of light brown patches where maybe it hasn't gone all the way through. See, like here on this one, see a light brown patch. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's how you do the flaming part. Now I'm going to come back and do the edges individually and then flip them over. An important thing is if you want like a line, so you only want to burn half of it, it's really hard if I flip it over to just kind of do this by hand, because you kind of can do it, but you don't really get a crisp edge. So if that's something you're looking for, you just need to lay a sheet of aluminium. So I'll just show you that. Just lay a piece of aluminium straight on that crisp line there. Make sure it's down flat onto the piece, and then you'll see when I burn, take that away, and you see you've got this perfectly clean line there. So it works for the sides as well, so you need to have aluminium going down the sides if you don't want the flame to kind of push in there. But if that's what you're looking for as an effect, you can get lots of thin sheets of aluminium and lay those down and create like some black and some not, and then you can finish the whole thing. But that's a great tip. So I'm just going to burn the rest of these and then we'll get on to finishing them. Okay, so that's these sides done. Now I'm just going to move on to the edges. So that's our coasters that I've done. This really helps waterproof the wood and looks after it. I've got a little brown spot here I can see, so I just need to go back here. Make sure that's done, double check the others. Yeah, they're all good. But as you can see, it starts to make a sooty mess. So the next stage, once they've cooled down, is either wipe them off, wire brush them, and then you could just finish them as you would normally. So, okay, on to the next step. Okay, on to the wire brushing. As you can see, I've just got any old wire brush here, and you go with the grain like this. If you've got a large piece, you know, you get one of those thicker wire brushes and just go for it. But the key thing is I don't want to remove the blackness. I want to keep the blackness there, so I don't want to do too much for my little coasters. As you can see, it starts to change in colour and go slightly brownish as you remove it, so I don't want to remove too much. All I want to do at this stage is get all of the edges, get the sides, okay, and then the other side. Also, this is messy, I don't know if you can see it, but it's firing soot all over my workbench here, so it's probably best to do this outside really. Especially if you're in a wood workshop, because you can set your workshop on fire pretty easy. Okay, that looks pretty good for what I need, I think. So I'll just do a couple more. You can be quite firm with this, you know, you don't have to hold back. If you go through to the brown, you can always burn it again, of course. Okay, that's 4 done. So it's 4 done with the wire brush, and then I'm going to show you a different technique with these two here. Okay, I got some gloves on. Next on the list is just a bit of sandpaper. So I've gone for a 240 grit here. So as you can see now, it's starting to kind of brown where the blackness is coming off. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Same on the edges. Okay, so that's all of those done. Okay, so these are the two. These are the two which we sanded. Okay, so let me just show you the difference. So the ones where I've sanded are still slightly darker, I would say. The ones where I've wire brushed them, it's brought the grain out more, but the brown has come through on all of these, except for this back one here, which is looking great. I burnt this one a bit more, so maybe that would be the better option here. And again, but they look absolutely fantastic. So it's important to note, a third option, you know, is the one that I did with this one. You've got some slight browning here, but it's mostly jet black. All I did was this, is wiped it off with some wet wipes to get the major part of the soot off, and then osmoed straight over it, and it went absolutely fine. The first coat after that, it still had a little bit of soot coming off it, but on the second coat, it completely finished it and sealed it. So if you want it black, 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 I would suggest probably doing that method. And these are the other methods, as you can see. So I'm just going to clean them up now and see where we're at. You can see with every wipe they start to look more and more beautiful. There's something about burning it that just makes the grain just really pop, you know. It's really fantastic. And it protects it against water as well. It makes them, you know, it's a way of naturally waterproofing it. And if you add a bit of Osmo on there as well, then it's, you know, it's perfectly fine to use as coasters or somewhere where there will be, you know, lots of moisture. They use this a lot outside to protect buildings. Okay. Quite a lot came off there. So as you can see, it's not rocket science doing this. You get an absolutely lovely effect. I like to use ash and oak, anything else I can get my hands on really and give it a go. We're just doing coasters here, but you know, you can apply this to massive pieces of wood as well. But the key part to me is no matter how much you clean it, you know, you're going to end up with a little bit of soot, and we need to get rid of that straight away. So I like to use Osmo. I've got Osmo extra thin here, just a Pollock's oil, but extra thin. And it's really simple to apply. You just use one of these, or if you're in a rush and you want to do it a quick way, you can get a big one of these pads, put it on the bottom of your sander. These pads are made by 3M. Check out Peter Parfitt's channel. He's got a list on the exact part numbers of this. And these things are just superb for putting on Osmo in no time at all. If you attach it to a sander, you just get the job done in no time. So I'll show you that now. So this is my Bosch sander. Set it on the lowest setting. And then I want to make sure that I've got just a little bit of this oil on my mat. So I'm just going to dip the end in here. I don't know if you can see, I mean, there's hardly any here on the end, but that's really all you need. So to do these faces, I'm just going to put a little bit on like this. A little bit on like this. And there we go. And then I'm going to do this one as well, just to give it another coat. And then I'm going to slap my pad on here. It's just hook and loop. And away we go. So this one hasn't spread quite as properly as I'd like. I'm just going to go back on and make sure that it's in all those surfaces. I don't know if you can see the quality of this finish. Let me try and hold it closer up. Can you see that there? Can you see the shine and the depth of grain that you get from blackening the wood? Personally, I think it's absolutely amazing. I really do. I love it. Okay, so I'm just going to check these. Don't worry too much about fingerprints and things at this stage, because we're going to go back and give them a final coat. Okay, so onto the other sides. You can still use that same cloth. Just make sure I get into all the edges. Just want to make sure I properly coated it. And of course you should really wear gloves while you're using this bit. Now on this first coat we just want to make sure we get complete coverage. That's all we're looking for. But don't put it on too thick because it'll take weeks to dry, and you don't want that. You just want it to dry almost immediately. If the cloth starts to run a bit dry, just turn it over. And I don't know if you can see the kind of coverage. There you go, you can just see there. It's the kind of sheen you get, and that's all you're looking for, nothing more. Make sure it's all covered like that kind of shine on it. Okay, so that's all of them done, I think. Just going to clean my hands. Get the oil off my hands. And away we go. Now this time you want somewhere to set them down afterwards with no fingerprints on, so I've just got a little block there to lean them up against. Just to make absolutely sure that that oil's in all the gaps, all the spaces. And then when I've done that, just hold it on the corners. Careful, same on this one. Okay, and that's one done. Okay, so some important tips. If you're doing that and you start to get too much Osmo on your fingers or on your gloves, just stop, get a bit of kitchen roll, wipe the Osmo away, and then carry on, and it'll stop you putting fingerprints in. If it's something that's super important finish, you can use a bigger piece of this cloth that hasn't got any Osmo on, just to hold the item with, and then it doesn't leave any marks at all. So they're usually quite handy. It has some long strips and can just sort of pinch them to hold things. But I think that kind of sums it up. You just need to add another coat to that, and that's it. It's done for life. It really is. So it's as simple as that. I don't think you need to see me add another coat. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that's enough information for you to go out and start burning wood for yourself. If you like the video, click subscribe and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.